So Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki Jai. Let's begin with the prayers. So before reciting Bhagavad Gita, we must take the blessings of the spiritual master. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarvrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are doing chapter number 1, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And the Gita shloka that we are doing today is 24 in chapter 1. Sañjaya uvāca, evam ukto hṛṣīkeśo guḍākeśena bhārata, senayor ubhayor madhye sthāpayitvā rathottamam. Sañjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Today's verse, what we have seen is the first sentence is Sañjaya uvāca. So there are 3 levels of conversation that is happening in here. Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. Mahabharata is the biggest epic in the world. It consists of 1,00,000 verses. And this conversation, the first level of conversation is between Vaishampayana Rishi and Janamejaya. Janamejaya is the son of Parikshit Maharaj. So this discussion is going on at the first level. In the second level, Sañjaya is having a discussion with Dhritarashtra. And Sañjaya is telling to Dhritarashtra about the conversation of Krishna and Arjuna. So here, Sañjaya is telling that evam ukto hṛṣīkeśo guḍākeśena bhārata. So he is telling as a third person that having been addressed by Arjuna, Krishna drew up the fine chariot. So like that, he's telling as a third person here that he's telling that he's referring to Krishna as Hṛṣīkeśa. And he's referring to Arjuna as Guḍākeśa. And he's referring to Dhritarashtra as descendant of Bharata. So each and every word in Bhagavad Gita has a meaning. So there is the reason why certain word has been put somewhere, there'll be some meaning inside it. So we'll go one by one. So to begin with, Sañjaya is addressing Dhritarashtra with the name as Bharata. Bharata means descendant of Bharata Maharaj. So Bharata Maharaj was a great king. He was the emperor of the world and he was a very virtuous king. So he is reminding Dhritarashtra that you are belonging to such a great lineage of Bharata Maharaj. So therefore you must remember about the religious principles, how Bharata Maharaj has followed. Like that he's telling. And here we have another word. He's referring to Krishna as not Krishna but as Hṛṣīkeśa. Hṛṣīkeśa, Hṛṣīka, Isha is Hṛṣīkeśa. So here Hṛṣīka means senses. Isha means controller. So controller of the senses. Krishna is being referred as the master of all the senses. So let us try to understand what this basically means. Every living entity on this earth has got senses. Human beings have got 10 senses, out of which 5 senses are called as Jnana Indriya. We have got 2 eyes, 2 ears, nose, tongue, and touch. So like that, these are the senses that we are having. And what happens? Above these senses is the mind. Indriyani parani ahur indriyabhya param manaha manasastu parabuddher yo buddhe parasastu saha. Means above the sensual platform is the mental platform, that is thinking with mind. And above mind, mental platform is the intellectual platform. Above the intellectual platform is the platform of the soul, that is spirit soul platform, spiritual platform. And above that platform is the Paramatma or the super soul. So therefore, Krishna is much higher than our senses. And therefore, we cannot perceive Krishna with our eyes. That we have to understand. And who has given these senses to us? We have got our body and we are trying to enjoy with our senses. But now the question is, who does this belong to? Our body is just like a rented car. Just like you take a car for rent. You pay some money and you take it for rent and you return it back. Similarly, we have taken this body from the material nature. And material nature is under the control of Lord Krishna. So therefore, everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasham idam sarvam. Yatkinchat jagatyam jagat. Everything belongs to Krishna and everything is controlled by Krishna. That is God, Krishna. So there is a definition of bhakti in the Narada Sutras, which says, Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparetvena nirmalam hṛṣīkeśa sevanam bhaktir uchyate. Means, what is the definition of bhakti is, we have to engage all our senses. Hṛṣīka. I told you, hṛṣīka means senses. We have to engage, when we engage all our senses in hṛṣīkeśa sevanam, in the service of Lord Krishna, then that is called Krishna consciousness or bhakti. By doing bhakti, what happens? By doing bhakti, we get liberated from ignorance. Right? So the next word here is Guḍākeśa. Guḍākeśena Bharata. Guḍākā means darkness. So Arjuna is being referred by Sañjaya as Guḍākeśa. That means he is the conqueror of darkness. So the spiritual meaning for this is that Arjuna has conquered the ignorance. So basically, we have three modes which are working on us. One is mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Just like we have three states of existence. That is, either we are awake, or we are in deep sleep, or we are in a dreaming state. Swapna, Shushupti, and Jagrita. So out of these three states of deep sleep and dreaming and being awake, Jagrita or being awake is considered to be the best state. Similarly, better than, completely being in sleep, better than mode of ignorance is mode of passion, better than mode of passion is mode of goodness. So here it has been said that Arjuna has conquered sleep. How did he conquer sleep? Hṛṣīkeśa sevanam. By the devotional service, by Krishna consciousness. Arjuna was already Krishna conscious. If Arjuna was not Krishna conscious, why would Krishna deliver Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna? Why not to somebody else? And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktosi Sakha Cheti. And he says, you are my dearmost friend. You are my dearmost devotee. Therefore, I am giving you this Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna has already acknowledged Arjuna as a great devotee. So, and Arjuna has defeated darkness or sleep, mode of darkness and sleep with the help of Krishna consciousness. So Arjuna used to be always thinking about Krishna. Correct? So there is one interesting story in this regard. Arjuna was materially a very skillful person. Very, very skilled in the warfare, especially in archery. That is why our government gives, to the sportsman awards called Arjuna awards. Right? We do not give any other kind of award with any other name. Why Arjuna? Because he was very skillful. How was he skillful? I will tell you a very interesting story. So this Arjuna was very interested in the subject matter of archery. He wanted to learn everything from his guru, Dronacharya. So Dronacharya, however, wanted to give some extra lessons to Ashwatthama, his son, because anybody would have natural affection towards his own son and would like to give something extra to the son than to the people who come to tuition. Correct? So these people are people who are coming to his tuition like that, is it? So, so what he would do, he would give a small water pot for everybody, all the students, but a big one to Ashwatthama for collecting water. So Ashwatthama would come very quickly, while others would have to go multiple times to collect water. So in that time, Dronacharya used to give some secrets, some additional information to Ashwatthama. This Arjuna noticed, and what he did, he, with the help of arrows, he started collecting the water, and he also started to attend the classes of extra special classes of Dronacharya. And Dronacharya was very impressed, looking at the eagerness to learn. A teacher becomes very happy when a student shows eagerness to learn. So like that, one day Arjuna was eating his dinner, and it was pitch dark. And those days, they used to have a lamp. So there was one lamp which was light, and he was eating his food. And the lamp got extinguished due to wind. By a gust of wind, it got extinguished. Then what happens? Arjuna is thinking about something, and he still continues to eat his food. He knows what all he has put. Here is chawal, here is dal, here is sambar, here is rasam, here is sabji, everything he is eating. And without any problem, he finished his meal. Then he realized that, okay, if I can eat my meals without any light, why cannot I practice in the night? So therefore, let me practice in the night as well. So he sleeps, he keeps awake all the night, and he practices the warfare. So like that, he becomes an expert. So like that, he has conquered the sleep. And here it is said, Sañjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of the both parties. So Krishna has, what did he do? He drew the chariot in midst of the armies of the both the parties. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, so Arjuna conquered the sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna. As a devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee. Either in waking or sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, quality, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna consciousness or samādhi. As Hṛṣīkeśa is the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in midst of armies. Thus, he did so and spoke so as follows. So, Krishna has very skillfully, what he does, we will know in the next sloka, he will place the chariot, but he will not place the chariot in front of Duryodhana or Dushyasana like that, but he will very strategically place it, that we will see that tomorrow, right? So therefore, if we become the pure devotee of Krishna, and if we surrender all our senses to the service of Krishna, then Krishna will become the controller of our senses. Then Krishna will personally give us instruction how we must act in our life. So with that lesson, let us become very committed and serious in Krishna consciousness, and let us take up this process of extraordinary process, with the help of which we can also conquer ignorance, just like how Arjuna has done.